Fifth rabies case confirmed in Sarawak. National security policy to be reviewed every 3 years. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching the evening edition of News on 2, and I am Amin Carlos. A 52-year-old man has become the fifth victim of rabies in the infected district of Serian in Sarawak. And Director General of Health, Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, in a website post today confirmed that on July 18th, the man from Kampung Remun had contracted the disease. And Dr. Nur Hisham disclosed that the man had been bitten by a dog in early May and that he developed what is believed to be symptoms of the disease on July 11th and was admitted to the Sarawak General Hospital. Now, 4 people have died of the disease in the span of 2 weeks, and yesterday, Dr. Nur Hisham revealed a lab report which confirmed the rabies outbreak originated from Kalimantan, Indonesia. The result was obtained after the Institute for Medical Research, or IMR, Virology unit carried out DNA sequencing of the rabies virus from specimens acquired from patients diagnosed with the disease. The Perak Veterinary Research Institute today confirmed that samples from 5 dogs sent to them for analysis had tested negative for rabies, while results from 3 other samples will only be known this Friday. State Health Exco Dr. Mahang Sun said the 8 samples were selected at random out of 48 stray dogs, which were culled at the Matang sub-district after it was declared a rabies-infected area on Monday.
Setakat ini tiada kes rabies ataupun kes suspected rabies tidak berlaku di Kuala Sepetang. Apa yang berlaku adalah kes rabies yang telah membunuh seekor anjing. Itu saja.
Speaking after chairing a state special task force to tackle the rabies outbreak in Tanjung Malim today, Dr. Ma said the Veterinary Services Department had so far vaccinated 65 pet dogs and 67 pet cats. He also reminded owners not to take their pets out of the infected zone and must keep them under tight control in enclosed areas where they cannot escape. Well, meanwhile, in Negeri Sembilan, the state government, in exercising precautions, has instructed local authorities to monitor wild dogs in the state to avoid potential rabies or mad dog disease cases. And the public have also been advised to be extra cautious and wary of their surroundings. Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar Dato Sri Muhammad Hassan stressed that the disease should be taken seriously as it spreads quickly after someone is bitten by a rabid animal.
Rabies ni berlaku di atas kepada anjing liar, tapi kemungkinan dia akan menjangkiti binatang peliharaan itu ada. Ya, jadi saya minta supaya semua orang ramai itu pada anak-anak yang mempunyai anak-anak kecil, yang mempunyai anak yang suka bermain di padang, di tempat lapang, berhati-hati ya.
To date, the rabies virus has claimed 4 lives in Sarawak, and the virus has also been detected in Perak. The national security policy will be reviewed once every 3 years in line with changes in the world security landscape. And Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak said he wanted all agencies at the federal and state levels to refer to the national security policy in formulating new policies and review and examine existing policies, particularly related to national security. Dato Sri Najib said the national security policy focuses on the 9 core values of the country. Among them are the sovereignty and territorial integrity and the people's security, which needs to be maintained through the implementation of 20 key strategies.
Dengan adanya dasar ini, apa yang kita mahukan adalah pertama, semua agensi, peringkat persekutuan dan negeri dapat merujuk kepada dasar ini dalam pengubalan mana-mana dasar baru. Kedua, menyemak dan meneliti dasar-dasar sedia ada, khususnya berkaitan dengan keselamatan negara, bagi memastikan dasar-dasar tersebut konsisten dengan dasar keselamatan negara. Sekiranya dasar tersebut tidak konsisten, maka penambahbaikan dan pengubahsuaian hendaklah dilaksanakan dengan sewajarnya.
He said the national security policy will also be monitored by a coordinating committee at the ministerial department and agencies level, which will be chaired by National Security Director General Tan Sri Zulkifli Mohamad Zin. He said this in a speech at the launch of the National Security Policy Book in Putrajaya today. The Negeri Sembilan State Legislative Assembly will inform the Election Commission of the vacant Lingging State seat following the death of its own Assemblyman, Dato' Ishaq Ismail, due to a heart attack yesterday. Now, Speaker Dr. Awaluddin said he had instructed the Assembly Secretariat to prepare the papers to be sent to the EC. A by-election need not be held for a vacant seat if the mandate of the state government expires in less than 2 years, unless the Speaker requests in writing that a by-election be called. Now, in the last general election in 2013, Dato' Ishaq beat Zulkifli Muhammad Omar of PAS and independent Zulkifli Abdullah to win the seat with a majority of 2,058 votes. Dato' Ishaq was said to be at an Eid al-Fitri open house hosted by Sri Menanti Assemblyman Dato' Abdul Samad Ibrahim when he fainted and was rushed to hospital for treatment before he was pronounced dead. Now, meanwhile, this morning, Prime Minister Dato' Sri Najib Tun Razak visited Dato' Ishaq's family in Taman Rashidah Utama, and he arrived at around 10:15 a.m. accompanied by Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar Dato' Sri Muhammad Hassan. And Dato' Ishaq's remains was later laid to rest at the Pantai Muslim Cemetery shortly after Zohor prayers. The Royal Malaysian Police, PDRM, and the Royal Thai Police have reached consensus on several issues relating to cross-border crimes in both countries. Now, this includes enhancing cooperation through exchange of officers and conducting joint exercises. The agreement between both parties came during the 24th Malaysia-Thailand Working Committee meeting on criminal activities, which was held in Kuala Lumpur. Deputy Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Nur Rashid Ibrahim said the outlined cooperation will be finalized at a future meeting in Thailand.
Sharing of intelligence, berkongsi intelligence supaya dalam kadar yang pantas, in time, timely sharing of intelligence yang kita rasa akan memberi manfaat kepada kedua-dua belah pihak.
He said this during the closing ceremony of the three-day meeting today. The Thai delegate was headed by its Deputy Police Chief, General Sutep Deshrugza. Well, police detained 62 suspected secret society members during a special operation codenamed Ops Chantas Khas, conducted in 3 states since yesterday. An Inspector General of Police, Tan Sri Khalid Abu Bakar, confirmed the arrest via a post on his Twitter account today. The IGP in his tweet also congratulated the CID teams from Selangor, Pulau Pinang and Kedah who were involved in the special operation. Tan Sri Khalid also noted that Ops Chantas Khas is still ongoing. A samurai sword was among many items seized during Ops Chantas Bersepadu at a drug den in Pendang, Kedah, where 23 addicts were detained in the raid at Sarangkebun Tok. And Pendang District National Anti-Agency AADK Operations Chief Nazir Qasim said the sword was believed to have been used to threaten those who tried to stop them from continuing their immoral activities. And all those arrested were aged between 17 to 55 years old. The operations involved officers from AADK and Pendang Police Anti-Narcotics Unit. 22 individuals who tested positive for the drugs opiate and methamphetamine were detained for further investigations, while 1 was released. Now, 18 of them are being investigated under Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Drug Addict Act 1983, while the other 4 are under Section 12, Subsection 2 of the Dangerous Drug Act 1952. Now, 18 individuals between the age of 17 and 40 were arrested during a Perangi Dada Habis-Habisan integrated operation held around Alustar yesterday. And Kota Star, Pokok Sena National Anti-Drugs Agency AADK Chief Officer Muhammad Shafri Samsudin, in a statement, said the raid was held around Jalan Datuk Kumbar, Kampung Teluk Bagan, Kampung Berjaya, Kampung Ulu Kuala Kedah, Taman Kota Nelayan, Kuala Kedah, and Kampung Pekan Kubang Rotan. The operation, which started at 12 a.m., involved 12 AADK officers and 6 RELA officers, where urine tests conducted on those arrested found them positive for drugs. and 14 of those arrested are convicted under Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Drug Dependence or Treatment and Rehabilitation Act in 1983, while the rest will be charged under Section 8, Subsection 3 of the Drug Dependence for Treatment and Rehabilitation Act 1983. In Johor, 12 teens, including one girl, were arrested for their involvement in 2 cases of student beating in Johor Bahru, and 11 of them were arrested in Johor and another in Malacca. Johor Chief Police Dato Sri Wan Ahmad Najmuddin Muhammad said all who were arrested are aged between 14 and 19 years old. And 5 of them were arrested following the alleged beating of a Form 3 student for refusing to join a gang dubbed Gang 550. And 3 teenagers will be remanded until tomorrow, whereas 2 more will be remanded today to assist investigations into the case under Section 147 of the Penal Code. Now, meanwhile, 7 more teenagers were arrested following the alleged beating of a Form 1 student in front of a secondary school in Skudai because the victim reported to a teacher that the suspects climbed the school fence to skip school. The case is being investigated under Section 148 of the Penal Code, and if convicted, offenders can be jailed for up to 2 years or fined. And according to Dato Sri Wan Ahmad, police will continue examining the case closely to help prevent gangsterism from spreading in the state. Now, some 5,000 people flocked Dewan Seri Endon and Putrajaya today for an Aidil Fitri celebration hosted by Communication and Multimedia Ministry, KKMM. And among those who attended the event, which ran from noon to 4 p.m., were members of the media, bloggers and celebrities. Well, there was also a cake-cutting ceremony held in conjunction with Communication and Multimedia Minister, Dato Sri Dr. Saleh Said Kerouac's birthday on July 10th. And among those present were KKMM Deputy Minister Dato Jailani Johari and KKMM Secretary General Dato Sri Dr. Sharifah Zahra Said Ahmad. Still ahead, visa-free travel for Malaysians to Morocco. You gotta stay with me. And hello again. Now, after a surge in fuel prices last week, this week we'll see fuel prices remain unchanged until July 26, when the next price adjustment will be announced. Now, effective midnight, RON 95 petrol remains at 1 ringgit and 97 per litre, while RON 97 petrol is priced at 2 ringgit and 22 cent per litre, and diesel will retain at the pump for 1 ringgit and 96 cent per litre this week. Let's take a look. The government has officially announced the formation of a Royal Commission of Inquiry, RCI, to investigate the foreign exchange or forex losses suffered by Bank Negara Malaysia in the 1990s. And according to a statement issued by the Prime Minister's office, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Muhammad V has approved the formation of the RCI, as well as matters related to its membership and scope of duties. Now, the RCI will be chaired by former Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Muhammad Siddiq Hassan, who previously headed the special task force formed in February to perform an initial probe into the losses that allegedly amounted to billions of ringgit. And Tan Sri Muhammad Siddiq will be assisted by 5 other members, and they include High Court Judge Dato Wira Kamaluddin Mat Said, Bursa Malaysia Chief Executive Officer Dato Sri Tajuddin Atan, and Special Task Force to Facilitate Business Pemuda Co-Chairman Tan Sri Saw Chubun. And 2 other are Malaysian Institute of Accountants member K. Puspanathan and Finance Ministry Strategic Investment Division Director Dato Dr. Yusuf Ismail. The RCI will be responsible for verifying the allegations that Bank Negara had experienced significant losses resulting from foreign currency transactions in 1990s and its implications to the national economy. The governments of Malaysia and Morocco have signed an agreement to allow citizens of both countries to travel back and forth without visa requirements. Now, the agreement will come into force after all requirements have been fulfilled by both countries. The partial abolition of the visa agreement was signed by Foreign Affairs Ministry Secretary General Dato' Ramlan Ibrahim on behalf of the government and the Kingdom of Morocco's ambassador to Malaysia, Muhammad Reda bin Khaldoon, on behalf of Morocco. The objective of the agreement is to allow citizens from both countries who are in possession of a valid travel document to enter into, exit from, or transit through the territory of the other country without visa for the purpose of official and social visits for a period of stay not exceeding 90 days.
Currently, despite having the visa requirement, we have a total of about 3,600 Malaysians traveling to Morocco. Now, without the visa, we can expect more Malaysians to visit Morocco, and I'm sure we will be able to also encourage many Moroccans to come and visit Malaysia.
Indeed, in the year 2016, for example, the Embassy of the Kingdom of Morocco in Malaysia has been more than 3,000 visas for Malaysian nationals wishing to travel to Morocco. To this date, 65 Malaysian students receive scholarships awarded by the Moroccan government. All these figures will change with the sign of this agreement.
2,927 Moroccans visited the country in 2016, and the number is expected to increase gradually following the agreement. Bank Negara Malaysia in a statement said access to financing is not a main issue in affordable housing. It added that this could be seen as 40 billion ringgit of housing loans were approved to more than 152,000 borrowers in the first 5 months of 2017. And Bank Negara said the approval rate for these housing loans had also been stable at 74%, with 3/4 of these borrowers being first-time house buyers. It added that banks had introduced more flexible financing solutions to improve affordability, such as those offered for Prima homes. The central bank said that outstanding housing loans had continued to outpace overall loan growth, with yearly rate increasing by 8.6% to 493 billion ringgit as at end of May 2017. A responsible financing guideline has been introduced to protect the interests of borrowers by ensuring borrowers are able to honor their financial obligation. A total of 801 units of the Affordable Housing Program, RMM, will be built in 2 districts in Malacca, with a total sales exceeding 141 million ringgit. Malacca Chief Minister Dato' Sri Idris Harun said the project involves 648 RMM housing units in Krubong in Malacca Tengah and 153 more units in Kuala Sungai Baru in Alor Gajah. Dato' Sri Idris said the RMM would be sold at prices ranging from 120,000 to 150,000 ringgit. The size of each unit is 92.9 square meters, has freehold status, and it is offered to Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra buyers.
Di rumah mampu milik di Krubong saya dah minta supaya dia bina di bawah harga 150,000. Cannot be more than 150,000. Di sana bagus. Di Kuala Tinggi dia jual 135,000.
He added that the project is expected to be completed in 2 years. He was speaking to reporters after the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding ceremony between the State Housing Board, LPM, and housing developers in Air Keroh. Oldest record in Malaysian athletics finally broken. Wow, and yes, after 49 years, the oldest record in Malaysian athletics, the men's 200 meters, is finally broken. At the Malaysian Open yesterday, Malacca sprinter Khairul Hafiz Jantan ran the race of his life to clock 20.90 seconds to break Tan Sri Dr. M. Jagathesan's 20.92 mark set in the semi-finals of the 1968 Mexico Olympics. Kairul also erased a meet record of 20.94 set by Kento Terada of Japan in Kongar in 1996. It was a 1-2-3 finish for Malaysia as Jonathan Yepa of Sarawak clocked 21.29 to bag the silver, while G. Aravin Tevar of Perak clinched the bronze in 21.31. Kairul is the only third Malaysian to dip below 21 seconds. Besides Jagathesan, the other was Azmi Ibrahim, who clocked 20.98 at the Kuala Lumpur SEA Games in 2001. His coach, Muhammad Puan Muhammad Qasim, praised Kairul for his excellent performance, adding that the athlete is in the right frame of mind for next month's SEA Games. And with that, we conclude this evening's News on 2. And our top story is all about what happened this afternoon. You'll find out again. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos, and stay tuned to TV2, and good night.